It is common knowledge that the battle rounds of The Voice are notorious for pushing contestants to their boundaries. In these rounds, the stakes are enormous and the competition is brutal. However, every once in a while, a performance would occur that goes above the norm, leaving not only the audience in astonishment, but also the coaches wondering how something so unadulterated and engaging could have been created from such undeveloped ability. A moment like this occurred during season 27, when Hayden-Grove and Lucia Flores-Wiseman performed an outstanding rendition of the ageless classic Funny Valentine. A moment like this occurred. The combination of their individual vocal talents, Hayden's deep baritone and Lucia's airy yet strong soprano, along with the emotional depth of the song, resulted in a performance that will be remembered for a significant amount of time beyond the conclusion of the season. Coaching staff members Kelsey Ballerini, John Legend, Adam Levine, and Michael Bublé were unable to contain their excitement as they observed the enchantment that took place on stage. Hayden-Grove and Lucia Flores-Wiseman are the contestants in this competition. Through his deep, resonant baritone and a stage presence that grabs attention, Nashville-based singer Hayden-Grove, who is 28 years old, has already established himself as a prominent figure in the music industry. The kind of performer that can bellow out a poignant ballad or take on an up-tempo piece while still maintaining a level of vulnerability that is difficult to find in the modern music scene is the kind of artist that he is. It has always been clear that he is obsessed with music and that he is dedicated to conveying a narrative via the medium of song. He is the kind of vocalist that can fall completely engrossed in the lyrics, capturing the attention of the audience with his genuine emotional expressions. As a classical crossover singer, Lucia Flores-Wiseman, who is 24 years old, is a formidable performer in her own right. Due to the fact that Lucia was brought up in a family of artists, she was exposed to a wide range of musical styles at an early age. This exposure eventually contributed to the formation of her eclectic approach to singing. In a manner that is uncommon for a singer of her age, she boasts a voice that is both ethereal and strong, and she has an intuitive ability to handle sophisticated phrasing and technical obstacles in a way that is very impressive. The instructors have already taken notice of her versatility, and the fact that she has a strong sense of musicality has put her in a league of her own. In addition to having a soprano that is capable of effortlessly soaring into the highest notes, Lucia's talent rests not just in her range, but also in the way that she delivers her emotions. It was obvious that the two artists' distinct vocal approaches would produce a fascinating dynamic when they were matched together for the battle round. Nonetheless, the question that remained was whether or not they could find harmony with one another. Would the contrast be too sharp for them to complement one another, or could their differences complement each other? Funny Valentine, a jazz standard composed by Richard Rodgers and Lawrence Hart, served as the ideal setting for their cooperation, which they chose to accomplish. The song is a gentle ballad that speaks to the sensitivity and compassion of love. It has been covered by a large number of singers over the years. Not only does it require nuance, but it also requires the capacity to generate profound emotional resonance. Mike Bublé, Kelsey Ballerini, John Legend, and Adam Levine are the individuals who are serving as coaches. As the combat round drew near, Hayden-Grove and Lucia Flores-Wiseman were each brought under the tutelage of their respective coaches, Kelsey Ballerini and Michael Bublé, respectively. Kelsey, who is well known for her abilities to bring together country, pop, and emotional storytelling, had taken a strong interest in Hayden. She saw a raw sincerity in his voice that had the potential to be perfected with further development. She challenged him to focus on creating a story with each note, bringing the same passion and emotion to the song that he pours into his own work. Kelsey had taught Hayden to use his deep tones to convey more than just lyrics. She had also encouraged him to use his deep tones to convey more than just lyrics. At the direction of Michael Bublé, Lucia had been given the opportunity to receive professional training from one of the most renowned vocalists in the world. Michael was the ideal mentor for Lucia because of his passion for jazz and classic standards. Lucia was previously familiar with classical music, but she was eager to discover the emotional complexity of jazz. Michael fulfilled both of these desires. Michael encouraged Lucia to let go of the technical accuracy that had made her such a great performer and instead concentrate on making the song feel private and personal. He did this by pushing Lucia to embrace her vulnerability and encouraging her to let go of the technical precision. Additionally, Michael pushed her to work on mixing her classical voice with a more relaxed conversational phrasing, which was a style that would be essential for their duet. The show, a magical experience in being created. When Hayden and Lucia took the stage for their fight, the audience was immediately able to perceive the electricity that existed between the two of them. In their blind auditions and knockouts, both performers had previously showed amazing vocal capabilities. Nevertheless, it was now time for them to blend their individual talents into a one performance. The lighting on the stage was gentle and inviting, and delicate spotlights were used to accent the two vocalists who were standing at opposite ends of the stage. The orchestral arrangement of Funny Valentine was understated but sophisticated, which enabled the subtleties of the performance to be brought out and appreciated. In the beginning of the song, Hayden began singing with a baritone voice that was low and silky, enveloping the audience in a sense of melancholy and affection. Through his voice, which was laced with both melancholy and hope, he was able to express the deep meaning of the words from the very first note. The manner in which he phrased the remark, "Your looks are laughable," gave the impression that it was less of an attack and more of a sympathetic reflection on the flaws that are often associated with love. There was a genuine sense of emotion in Hayden's speech, which drew the audience in as he let them into his world of vulnerability. The difference between Lucia's soprano and Hayden's baritone was immediately noticeable as soon as she entered the stage with her first stanza. Her voice had a light, almost ethereal quality that was the perfect balance to Hayden's grounded tone. Her voice was like a breath of fresh air. The way that Lucia phrased her words was soft yet forceful, and there was a trace of emotion that ran through her delivery. She infused life into the words, making them sound as like they were a personal secret that she was giving to the world. Her interpretation of the line, "But you're my favorite work of art," was absolutely stunning. The events that transpired were nothing short of miraculous. The two singers started to harmonize, and their voices blended together in a way that was natural and not forced in any way. A brilliant contrast was generated by Lucia's higher, more ethereal notes, which contrasted with the deeper tones that Hayden used to anchor the performance. What was linking them was not simply their voices, it was the feelings that they were experiencing. Hayden, with his unfiltered honesty, and Lucia, with her nuanced precision, were both relating the same narrative, but from different points of view. While they were singing the chorus together, their voices blended together, resulting in a harmonious balance that was heartfelt and impressive at the same time. At the point as the performance reached its emotional peak, the bridge of the song was played. After taking a breath, Lucia realized that the strength of the song and the trust that existed between the two singers had been indisputable at that same moment. Lucia soared into a breathtaking high note, filling the area with the kind of beauty that only a classical voice could deliver. Hayden, who was always the storyteller, held the note for a little bit longer than usual, allowing the emotional weight of the lyrics to slowly sink in. It seemed as if the entire arena had stopped breathing when the final chord was played. It was as if two voices, two souls, were completely in harmony with one another, leaving nothing behind. The coaches' responses were a mixture of admiration and shock. The audience exploded in applause as the concert came to a close. However, the response from the coaches was the one that truly showed how much they appreciated the performance. When Kelsey Ballerini was watching her competitor Hayden, she was clearly experiencing a lot of emotion. It was with a tone of pride that she addressed Hayden, saying, "Hayden, I've never heard you sound like that. There is a lot of heart that you brought to this. Once you let go, it was a wonderful experience." In addition, she went to Lucia and said, "Lucia, you are absolutely captivating. Your voice seems to float, yet it actually carries a great deal of power behind it. Amazing how well you two were able to merge together." The same can be said for John Legend, who is never one to hold back when it comes to expressing his enthusiasm for musicianship. He stated that this was an excellent demonstration of how to make advantage of voice contrast. Both Hayden and Lucia Your phrasing was absolutely perfect. Hayden, you have such a distinctive voice. The way in which you two connected with each other on stage was truly remarkable." In his role as a reviewer, Adam Levine grinned and remarked, "This was without a doubt one of the most sophisticated performances I've ever witnessed on The Voice. Two artists were the only ones who were able to create something that will stand the test of time. The words 'you two took this song and made it yours' were spoken by Michael Bublé, who seemed to be very moved. It was absolutely flawless." The consequences, a fight that will never be forgotten. When it came time for the coaches to make their choices, there was rarely any disagreement. The performance itself had generated such a strong link between the two artists that they had earned a position in the competition. Kelsey and Michael both saw enormous promise in their respective contenders, but the performance itself had created such powerful bonds. Michael Bublé finally decided to go with Lucia because he admired her calm and control, while Kelsey went with Hayden because she was pleased with how far he had progressed in his ability to master the song's emotional depth as well as his vocal perfection. The performance of Funny Valentine by Hayden-Grove and Lucia Flores-Wiseman will be remembered as a beautiful example of musical magic since it will be recorded in the history of The Voice. A moment that will be remembered not only for its technical brilliance, but also for the raw, unfiltered emotion that they brought to the stage was one of the most unforgettable moments of season 27. This moment was made possible by the combination of their distinctive voices, their trust in each other, and the delicate, vulnerable beauty of the song itself.